First of all, we're going to look at a few translation notes. From the very beginning, there are various opinions on how the text should be translated. In Genesis 1:1, we see these three options. In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth, or when God began to create the heavens and the earth, or in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This has to do with the fact that the medieval Hebrew text right at the beginning seems a little odd. One could, with a text that has no vowels, either translate, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth," or "When God began to create the heavens and the earth." The medieval text with its vowels seems to have a kind of a combination of the two. And so some scholars have begun to prefer the temporal clause, "When God began to create." The NRSV kind of splits the difference. The NIV reading is the more traditional. And it's because the word for beginning does not seem to have a definite article that some people prefer "When God began to create." However, my own particular preference is in the traditional reading. If you do it as a temporal clause, "When God began to create," you run into a problem with the very next phrase. If you ever take Hebrew, you can learn all about this. It's hard to describe in English. I would point out that the ancient versions, the Septuagint reads, "In the beginning God made the heaven and the earth." In the three Aramaic translations, "In the first times the Lord created the heavens and the earth." "At the beginning the Lord created the heavens and the earth." "In wisdom the Lord created," which would seem to favor the more traditional reading as that which was understood in the ancient world. Also, the temporal clause, where you don't have a definite article, are at other times translated as if they had a definite article. For example, in Isaiah 40:21, "Have you not known, have you not heard, has it not been told you from the beginning?" The Hebrew doesn't actually have a definite article there. Or, "Who has performed and done this, calling the generations from the beginning?" Again, there is no definite article in that Isaiah passage, and yet it seems to call for that in the translation. And in Proverbs, "Ages ago I was set up at the first, before the beginning of the earth." Again, there is no definite article as the medieval scribes transcribed the text, and yet it really calls for a definite article. So I just wanted to make you aware of the variations and some idea of why they are there. I also want to call attention to the word bara. The first phrase in the Bible is Bereshit bara, and bara is the word we translate create. Whatever its use in other languages, in the Old Testament, bara is specifically theological, and the subject in the active uses of the verb is always God. And so, for example, it is used when it talks about God creating the great sea monsters, or it is used for God creating man or humankind, the generations of the heaven and the earth when they were created. It's used to create a clean heart in us. It is used for the north and the south. You have created them. The Lord will create over the whole site of Mount Zion a cloud by day and smoke and the shining of a flaming fire by night. I form light and create darkness. I make weal and create woe. I create the fruit of the lips. I create new heavens and a new earth. I create Jerusalem a rejoicing. So you see some of the contexts in which create is used. Words like make and form are also used in the creation accounts. This particular word bara is one that only has God as subject. Also, there's a very fun Hebrew phrase, tohu vavohu. Tohu vavohu is, and the earth was without form and void in the traditional translation. The tohu is wilderness, wasteland, emptiness, desert, nothing. Bohu, emptiness, wasteness. I think that the idea that is coming across is at the very beginning there are not the conditions for life. There's nothing productive, nothing meaningful going on. And at that point, God proceeds to bring about all kinds of things that will be productive and fruitful and ordered. We see some uses of tohu and bohu in other contexts. The red indicates the word tohu. It's used far more often. So we see waste or vain things which cannot profit or save. The idea of chaos, the idea of emptiness, the idea of nothing. The words tohu vavohu are used in Jeremiah 4:23. I looked on the earth, and lo, it was tohu vavohu, and to the heavens, and they had no light. So it's as if in Jeremiah it's looking back to a time before anything existed or anything is productive and meaningful and conducive to life.